Ukrainian aerial reconnaissance have discovered the R-330J, Zhitel, radio-electronic warfare station and the MSTA-B artillery unit hidden by the occupying Russian army soldiers in a forest area and transmitted the information to the artillerymen. Russian soldiers who saw the Ukrainian reconnaissance drone tried to evade attention and hide, however they were unable to do so. The R-330J, Zhitel, radio-electronic warfare station and the MSTA-B artillery unit were destroyed by a series of missile strikes, along with the crew members.
Ukraine is trying to seize the initiative and slow down Russia's advance on the special operation front, Le Figaro says. French journalists write that in recent days, the Ukrainian army has begun to actively resist in the areas of Kursk, Toretsk and Pokrovsk, seeking not only to lose more territory, but perhaps even to recapture some of the land. Ukrainian troops are trying to gain time to force the Russian armed forces to disperse troops along the contact line, making the offensive more difficult. The ultimate goal is more favorable conditions for bargaining in future negotiations, the media believes. If the Ukrainian armed forces are really making efforts to seize the initiative and demonstrate at least some attack potential near Kursk and Pokrovsk, then where the French saw the Ukrainians' activity in the Toretsk direction of the northeastern military district is a big question. In the Pokrovsk direction, Kiev is indeed bringing up reserves. Several brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces have been reported to have advanced from Kryvyi Rog to the DPR. However, attempts to attack have so far been met with heavy counterfire, and the Ukrainian army's enthusiasm to run forward has abruptly disappeared. As reported by the Telegram channel 2 Majors, the first counterattack of the Ukrainian armed forces has been repelled near Pokrovsk. It was previously assumed that the enemy would attack from 2 directions in order to encircle our troops. So far, the opposite trend has been observed. The Russian armed forces have liberated Uspenovka, notes military expert Boris Rozin. Ukrainian resources write that our sabotage and reconnaissance groups have broken through to the outskirts of Pokrovsk. Also, west of Kurakovo, the Russian armed forces liberated the village of Dachnoy. In Toretsk, the FSB special forces have begun clearing the city of enemy saboteurs. Fighting continues on the outskirts of settlements adjacent to the city. FSB security units are destroying the remaining Ukrainian armed forces. Ukrainian sabotage and reconnaissance groups, as well as enemy fire spotters, continue to be present in the city. In addition, the agency's employees are identifying UAV launch points from which the enemy is attacking civilians. In the Kursk region, after the Ukrainian armed forces attempted to break through at Fanaseyevka, Cherkasskaya Konopelka and Ulanka, the north group of troops is clearing the forests of enemy presence. Kyiv's attempt to occupy the listed villages, timed to coincide with the 6-month occupation of part of the region, failed. Small detachments of militants remained in the area, tracking down and destroying our drone operators. Fierce fighting continues in the vicinity of Sverdlikovo, where we managed to advance 700 meters. Our troops were also able to dislodge the enemy from a number of strongholds in the vicinity of Pogrebki and advance in the village and its environs, the military reported. The Ukrainian Armed Forces Command continues to transfer reserves to the Sudza district. Here, the enemy's main task is to hold Sudza until the start of the negotiations process in order to have a bargaining chip. For several days in a row, half of the glide bombs or cabs that Russia produces have been arriving in Kursk region. This demonstrates that Russian dictator Vladimir Putin wants to drive the Ukrainian armed forces out of this territory at any cost. This was stated by military expert, former spokesman for the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Vladislav Zeleznev, on air at Kiev 24. He noted that large-scale attacks by the Russian army in the Sudza area are currently ongoing, including the use of artillery and aviation. For several days in a row, 50% or more of Russian cabs have been flying not to the territory of our country, but to the territory of the Kursk region. Sudza and the suburbs, first of all, suffer because Russian pilots drop cabs weighing 250, 500 and more kilograms precisely on the sovereign territory of the Russian Federation, the expert said. In his opinion, this once again underlines that Putin absolutely does not care about the so-called collateral damage. It is important for him to achieve certain results. Under such conditions, he doesn't care how many civilians in the Kursk region, Russians, will die, how many buildings and infrastructure will be destroyed. It is important to him that certain results are achieved by any means, Zeleznev said. According to him, Putin does not take into account the losses of North Korean soldiers who are being used as assault fodder in Kursk. In just over a month, the North Korean army, its cell, that is involved in the Kursk operation, has lost up to 4,000 people. This is a high level of losses, and not because the North Korean servicemen are incapable, clumsy, ineffective, but because the Russian General Staff uses them in this way, a kind of assault fodder that dies during the very first battle, Zeleznev noted. Thus, he noted, the Russian army previously used former prisoners and fighters from the private military company Wagner also fought in the same way. Well, the time has come for the North Korean military. They attack, try to take certain lines and positions, and if they succeed, Russian military personnel enter in their place. If not, then more and more groups of North Korean military personnel are sent to their deaths, explained the former General Staff representative. At the same time, Zeleznev emphasized North Korean servicemen should not be underestimated because they adapt to modern combat conditions quite quickly and have already repeatedly demonstrated their dexterity in countering Ukrainian FPV drones. They find options and ways to be effective enough in this confrontation. Therefore, I would not risk believing that North Korean soldiers are incapable. Excellent physical training, incredible level of motivation, they are ready to die for their idol and leader, he explained.